October 29, 2022. Medford Avenue, Escambia County. Inside house number 1100, a man fought for his life. Fighting was not enough. He would not survive. Multiple gunshots inside his own closet, then more as he stumbled into the hall. But the person who called the police was not who she claimed. Alyssa Blackburn, age 22. Arrested as a principal in this killing. She claimed she had been attacked, but the video shows the shooter entering. She's no bystander. And there's more, a black Toyota's tires rolled down that quiet street, and later, charred beneath a bridge. Security footage captures two men stepping in. Jacob Colville, seen firing twice into the closet, then chasing down the wounded victim. The man with him, Lawrence Bonner Jr., handed him the gun. Deserted quiet. Welcome transformed to an execution chamber, stolen guns, report of a getaway car set ablaze, and a series of clues, each pointing toward her. Jesse Allen Geoghaghan, 26 years old. Full of hope. Mid-conversation, mid-plan, gone. Soon, you'll meet him, see the tapes, and follow every step of the crime. Then you will decide, truth, or a lie that ended his life. This is Bruised Voice. Subscribe, press the bell, and tell us where you're watching from. The next hours will reveal everything, because this was no accident. Jesse Allen Geoghaghan was born on June 26, 1996, in Cantonment, Florida, just north of Pensacola. A close-knit community where everyone knew his name and many called him brother. 26 years old. Known for his warm heart, his kindness, and his loyalty. His sister would later say, he had a big heart, loved fiercely, and made plans others admired. He worked as a small engine mechanic, hands always busy fixing what others could not. On weekends, he turned his passion into street racing, searching for speed, and for connection. That goofy, protective spark, those traits were his trademarks. Always ready to help, always watching out for someone he cared about. At home, the walls were pinned with family photos. His mother, his sister Cheyenne, nephews and niece, all part of his world. Cheyenne would say, when he loved with everything he had and then some. Just days before his death, Jesse faced charges, small-time drug possession and car theft. He was sorting through mistakes, preparing to move out of Medford Avenue when tragedy struck. Cheyenne's words echoed, he made mistakes, but his mistakes don't define him. She remembered late-night talks and the way he'd sketch out future plans, renovations, street races, time with family. It was a sunlit Saturday afternoon. Montclair's suburban calm blanketed Medford Avenue. Kids played. Lawns were mowed. No one expected what would unfold behind closed doors. But inside, Jesse was packing, sorting belongings, planning a change. That quiet house was filled with laughter just hours before. Photos of birthdays, college days, small victories lining a hallway. And by nightfall, every room would bear the weight of loss. Jesse wasn't just a victim, he was a brother, a son, an uncle, a friend. His absence echoes in every photo, every memory. And on that Saturday, everything changed. He believed these walls would keep him safe. He was wrong. A knock at the door. No warning. Security footage shows two figures stepping over the threshold. Jacob Colville, guns drawn, moved with purpose. He paused at the closet where Jesse was hiding. He fired twice into the cramped space. The first shot tore through flesh, puncturing lung, winding airway, rupturing hope. The second shot, closer, severed muscle and left him stumbling into the hallway. Each step was heavier than the last. Pain spread. Fear enveloped him. And then Colville opened fire again. Multiple rounds, cruel, unrelenting. Jesse collapsed mid-stride, pain erupting in every nerve. The second man, Lawrence Bonner Jr., stood guard. He wasn't a passive observer. At one point, he handed the handgun to Colville. That act confirmed intent. That act made him complicit in the execution. Jesse, a man with plans, was dying on his own hardwood floor, blood pooling beneath him, staining his sneakers, marking the place where his life slipped away. In the air, silence. Or so it seemed. Then came a phone tapping, Alyssa Blackburn. Her voice trembled as she reported an attack on herself. But responding deputies would find a tension in her calm, a discord between words and scene. Police swept the house. They mapped every casing, documented every blood spatter pattern. A slow yet thorough collection, each item a fragment of truth. Hours later, a black Toyota was spotted under a nearby bridge, burned to steel bones. Tire marks vanished. No sign of occupants. What remained was an empty shell, one more evidence of a plan executed to its final chapter. Ballistics. Bullets traced back to the .40 caliber Ruger. The same gun found later with Colville, alongside meth, cash, disguises. He tried to erase identity, tattoos hidden under makeup, a wig, a cap. But the wounds remained. Timeline mismatches grew clearer. The security footage and the 911 call differed by minutes. Wounds on Jesse's body matched an execution, not a struggle. Bruising, entry wounds, trajectory, all resonated with murder. But the most brutal fact, this was no accident or panic-driven moment. It was cold, precise, methodical. 5 shots in under 2 minutes, organized, efficient, merciless. In that hallway, elements of a nightmare converged, planned travel, weapons, disguises, escape routes. No mercy. No remorse. Just the finality of a life extinguished in cold blood. They pushed the tape across the entrance. Inside, every surface was frozen in place, blood-slick carpet, shell casing strewn across the hallway, closet door splintered. Detectives photographed everything, cataloged each trace of violence. They noted 12 spent casings, some in the closet, others in the hallway, marking where each shot had found its mark. Blood pooled near Jesse's final steps, each stain impregnated with his fight for breath, his final seconds of life. Outside, agents traced tire marks leading to a black sedan. The stolen vehicle was examined thoroughly. Later, it was found burned beneath a bridge, the metal frame scorched beyond recognition. Accelerants had been used, an attempt at erasing any trace of escape. Within hours, items emerged from that wreck, discarded clothes, belongings, fragments of fabric. Each piece linked back to the night's events, each confirmation of planning and execution. Back in the house, forensic teams scoured every inch. Bullet trajectories were mapped, 2 fired inside the closet, 1 hit him in the back as he fled, 2 more close-range shots were fired as he collapsed. That sequence exposed the cruel pattern: hunt, chase, end. Tests confirmed residue on the pistol matched all recovered casings. That same weapon was later pulled from Jacob Colville's possession, alongside ammunition, drugs, cash. A full confession would follow. Methamphetamine and paraphernalia were found in a backpack. What looked like everyday items, a wig tucked into a cap, makeup, glasses, were also recovered, suggesting disguise. Colville had attempted to obscure his identity, but evidence betrayed him. The 911 call arrived. Alyssa Blackburn's voice shook over the airwaves, speaking of her own attack, describing a violent scene inside the home. Yet her timing didn't align. The call came after the fatal shots, no screaming, no struggle captured live on tape. Instead, what investigators found was a script lacking truth. Over days, detectives constructed the timeline. Cell phone data revealed Blackburn and Colville traveling in that stolen car together. GPS pings showed coordinated movement. Autopsy findings corroborated gunshot paths and distances, wounds fired from close range, not through a door or hallway. In interviews, Blackburn maintained her claim: she came running from outside, found Jesse dying, called police. But officers didn't buy it. They withheld details from her: bullet counts, shell placement, wound analysis, using silence to watch how her story shifted with each new fact. Colville was arrested days later in Florida's Lake County, pulled over for minor infractions. In the trunk, the murder weapon, ammunition, drugs, makeup supplies, disguise items. Plain to see. He was no amateur. He tried to disappear, but investigators had already closed the net. Lawrence Bonner Jr. was also arrested, his involvement clear. He'd supplied the firearm. His guilt lay in the hands he passed the weapon to, making him a partner in the execution. Investigators pieced it together: this was no domestic dispute gone wrong. This was orchestrated, roles assigned, routes planned, escapes predicted. Everything led back to a single, cruel purpose. With every test result, every fragment found, the story became undeniable. What had been told as defense, fractured into shards when faced with fact. Detectives filed charges, first-degree premeditated murder. Colville would plead guilty and receive life. Blackburn and Bonner would stand accused as principals. No mercy had been taken. No room had been allowed for accident or mistake. This had been murder, exactly planned, brutally executed. A few days after the murder, an Escambia County grand jury handed down indictments. Jacob Monroe Colville faced charges of first-degree premeditated murder. Alyssa Blackburn and Lawrence Bonner Jr. were each charged as principals under Florida law, meaning prosecutors claimed they participated in planning, aiding, or encouraging the killing, even if they didn't pull the trigger themselves. All three were denied bond and ordered to appear for arraignment on November 23, 2022. 15 days later, on November 7, deputies confirmed Alyssa Blackburn's arrest. She was booked into the Escambia County Jail, held without bond, under principal murder charges. Over the next few days, investigators captured mugshots that revealed composure, not panic, a calm in her gaze that masked a storm of questions. Not long after, Jacob Colville was pulled over in Lake County. He wore disguise, a wig, makeup, and clothing to obscure tattoos. Search of his vehicle turned up the murder weapon, ammunition, methamphetamine, a backpack, and more disguise items, a chilling hint at a man attempting to vanish. Around the same time, Lawrence Bonner Jr., 46, was also arrested for his role in supplying the firearm and aiding the assaulter's entry. In court, the prosecution's strategy was clear. The foundation of their case, the stolen, charred getaway car, dozen shell casings from closet to hallway. Wound analysis showing execution at close range, and stark contradictions between Blackburn's 911 call and surveillance footage. They planned to show a calculated, coordinated attack, no spur-of-the-moment violence. The defense faced challenges. Blackburn's team argued she had no idea of the murder plot and was merely ensnared by circumstance. They aimed to separate her culpability from Colville's. They contested premeditation and questioned the narrative of joint planning. In June 2024, the first trial began. The jury deliberated for murder in the first degree. Their verdict landed hard, guilty. Colville was sentenced to life in prison, with Judge Coleman Robinson confirming the unbreakable chain of evidence, from closet shots to the burned car, pointing squarely at premeditated intent. As June 2025 dawned, Blackburn and Bonner remained locked behind jail doors, held without bond. Neither had struck plea deals, both maintained pleas of not guilty. Court records showed their next appearance scheduled for mid-August 2024. Their attorneys argued shared intent could not be assumed, it required proof of knowledge and agreement. Prosecution planned to show conspiratorial communications, witness testimony, and movement logs. If convicted as principals, they could face sentences equal to Colville's. A plea or cooperation agreement might offer shorter time. But no deals had been reported, and no early resolution was in sight. The sentencing of Colville closed one chapter, but not the book. Jesse's family, still raw, expressed relief, yet called for complete justice. Local media carried their voices, urging courts to finish what was started. There was public demand to see Blackburn and Bonner stand accountable, too. Now all eyes turned toward the remaining trials. Will Blackburn's account fracture under cross-examination? Will Bonner's testimony expose deeper coordination or shift blame? Will the courtroom reveal more about motivation? Revenge, betrayal, cold execution. The next hearings promised to define justice, and determine whether this slaughter was the work of one man with backup, or the final act of a trio who struck with intent, planning, and brutality. They are all behind bars. Colville is serving life, judged and condemned. Blackburn, just 22, remains locked away without bond. So is Bonner, now 44, accused of supplying the gun. Their trials are on pause, the court not yet ready to hear their defenses. In quiet homes, Jesse's family struggles under the weight of loss. They are demanding what every grieving heart deserves, justice. Their voices, once soft, now ring in local news, prayers, pleas, and the hope that trials will bring answers. Neighbors, once close, now cross the street with fear, remembering his quiet presence, the friendly mechanic who vanished in violence. The texture of media coverage shifted quickly. crime blotters morphed into headlines exposing betrayal, girlfriend turned suspect. Public forums labeled Alyssa, the woman who killed, a trusted lover turned orchestrator. The narrative spread fast, fueling fear and fascination. But still, questions remain. Who set that stolen black car ablaze? Who tampered with the getaway? Who orchestrated the timing, getting inside, making sure the weapon arrived, ensuring no one saw? Was Alyssa a mastermind, driving accomplices to execute her plan, or simply a terrified witness caught in someone else's trap? Could Bonner have been a reluctant participant, pushed into a role he never chose? Speculation has filled comment threads. Some argue Blackburn masterminded the plan, manipulating both men, arranging everything down to date, time, getaway. Others ask, was this a desperate act of debt? A dispute gone horribly wrong? Was Bonner coerced? And what of other angles, drug ties, grudges, money owed? Regardless of theory, nothing lowers the emotional impact. Families still light candles where Jesse once smiled. Neighborhoods remain tense. The burned church across the street, the vacant driveway, it's as if the house itself holds its breath, waiting for justice. Alyssa remains silent in court, her eyes forward, her posture still. Bonner speaks only through attorneys. Their words, caught in legal argument, touch nerves but don't calm them. Colville's conviction seemed final, but this is not the end. Trials for Blackburn and Bonner promise more revelations. Will forensic reports confirm or contradict their stories? Will witnesses testify? Will phone data, text logs, rideshare records shift the narrative? What comes next could rewrite everything. Confessions, surprise testimony, evidence yet unseen, it might change how we view innocence or guilt. The community watches, hoping these trials will reach the heart of betrayal, greed, or calculation. Will killers remain killers? Or will shadows stretch so far, they lose shape? The final act is yet to come. Silence remains heavy. Justice still waiting. And while the law unfolds, families tally heartbreak. The last moments of Jesse's life, paled in court transcripts, linger in every unanswered question. The darkness isn't gone. It's only waiting. A man's life erased in his own home. Jesse Allen Geoghaghan, 26 years old, laid low in a brutal, premeditated ambush. The surveillance footage captured his dying moments. The person who called for help isn't what she claimed to be. Colville is now serving life in prison. Blackburn and Bonner remain locked up, awaiting trial, no verdict, no closure. But why was Jesse targeted so mercilessly? Was it personal vengeance, a fight over money, or something far darker, known only to those who executed the plan? Did Blackburn truly believe her victim's story would protect her, or was it all an act from the start? What evidence might emerge when Blackburn and Bonner finally take the stand? Could their testimonies expose new betrayals, or solidify their current claims? Might phone records or witness statements yet rewrite our understanding of what unfolded that night? A home should be the safest place in the world. For Jesse, it became a killing ground. A story of trust weaponized, of a sanctuary transformed into a slaughterhouse. Now it's up to you. What's your verdict? Did Alyssa Blackburn orchestrate this crime? Was Bonner merely an accessory, or something more? And what do you think will come to light once the courtroom doors open again? Tell us in the comments below, what do you believe really happened? If this breakdown shook you, subscribe to Bruised Voice, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned. The next chapter of this case could change everything. Like, share, and join the discussion. Jesse's life may have been stolen, his story deserves to be heard. The truth still cries out for answers.